So guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, I am taking you to the one and only Milky Way in Bolivia. Morning. We are now at the La Paz airport on the flight to Uyuni. Major delay today, and that's why it's such long line. There's only one flight per day that goes from La Paz to Uyuni. So if you miss it, you're gonna have to go the day after. So the company that flies to Uyuni is BOA.
It was actually a very short flight, and by the time we know it, on the window we could already see the salt flat, miles and miles long of white salt.
Finally arrived at Uyuni. So excited! So happy.
One of the quickest and smallest baggage area I had seen. And then we were on our way to the tour company to settle the payments. We picked two tours. One of them is the Stars and Sunset, and then another one is the typical 3 days, 2 nights tour. The cost was $410 per person. And then we arrived at our beautiful hotel, Luna Salada.
Oh my god, it's so pretty. So gorgeous. Right?
We stayed at this hotel for 2 nights. We decided that we really need a proper rest. This was one of the 3 nicer hotels in the area. I'm going to put it in the description box so that you will find out more about it. Also, it was very close to the salt flat, about 10-15 minutes depending on where we're going. It comes with playrooms, spa, jacuzzi, full-size restaurant. It was actually pretty nice.
Well, this is where I will be tonight. Well guys, you know where to find me. Any place that has a hot tub and a jacuzzi is where I will be. Thank you, Andres. Say hi.
Hi.
Andres is showing us around. Fire pit. Look at this. The dome. This is cute. So these are available for rent, of course, as a hotel room. So about 10-15 minutes from our hotel, we had arrived at the salt flat. Humongous. I actually already saw on the plane on how big this salt flat is. It's pretty crazy. Hopefully by where we stop, we won't see too many people. So we already changed into our rain boots as well. It's provided by the company. It's just as beautiful as imagine. Oh, it's so pretty. I cannot even express my feeling. I just teared because I've been wanting to come here for so goddamn long. Because, you know, we all have different goals, and one of my biggest goals before were to finish the 7 wonders. But because of COVID, obviously, many plans were changed. I keep delaying Bolivia, like Uyuni salt flat specifically. And so I make every effort every single time to come here, but the timing is never right because every time I go back to New York, it's November. It is still not rainy season. Right now, it's already the end of the dry season. Supposedly, it's the beginning of wet season. I'm so happy. Right now, today is December 18th. Part of the tour comes with picnic drinks with chips and cookies, and with that Bolivian champagne, Sindra, and of course with the magnificent sunset. Although it's cloudy, but I feel like the colors are gonna turn really pretty later.
The next day.
All right, day 2 of Uyuni, Bolivia. Hello. So it's gonna be a full day today.
First stop was going to the village of Kochani, explaining to us how salts were extracted and how they are being sealed and added iodine so that it could be edible. Then, as nosy as I was, I wanted to see how heavy the salt block is.
I think like 10 pounds. This is like the size of my carry-on.
They put over here, they remove and remove for around 25 millimeters approximately. By the way, it's only for Bolivia. Because I do this like once or twice a week, there's not.
Souvenir time. So much to buy here. I bought some salt and some souvenirs. Lots to buy. We had arrived at Dakar, Bolivia.
Where the Dakar rally was.
It is the village that is next to the Casa de Salt and next to all the flags. So on your usual day, if you were to join a shared or private tour, a lot of the itineraries are the same. But this time we joined a private tour, so we were able to adjust a little bit, spend more time in different things that we want to do. Do you see a flag? All right, so I found a China flag. I see a Korea flag, UK flag, the States, of course.
Right next to the flags of the world is the Casa de Salt, which is the old salt hotel. Now it is a place for lunch. You can still see how the hotel was back then.
All right, so after about 30 minutes drive, we had finally arrived at our lunch location. I mean, just look at these guys. Miles and miles of these salt flats that you're seeing right now. All salt, biggest salt flat in the whole entire world. Hopefully, it will be a good lunch. Wow, just look at this. Unreal, unreal.
And the sausage is made of chicken.
Chicken.
And what is
sausage.
this?
This one's potato.
Oh.
And this one, onions.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
onions
okay.
and pepper.
So this was included in our tour, and we found out that it was cooked by the driver's wife. It is actually quite typical for the families to cook for us, like for their customers. It is not provided by a restaurant, so if you are picky, make sure you bring your own food. So this was actually one of the best lunches I've ever had. Not the food, but the scenery. And then it was time for pictures. I'm sure you have seen these pictures everywhere online. It was so fun to do this.
2 hours later.
Now I'm at the Incahuasi Island. I am going to go up by myself because I want to film for you guys. My friends are tired and I totally get it. Okay, so let's go. So let's see the view. Yes. So guys, this is the view you get up here. 30 BOB, so worth it because the view is so amazing. Yeah, so make sure you do come. If you're here, you might as well. So 45 minutes, the normal time. I did it in 35, so I'm quite happy about it. And I didn't know that I would finish it so fast. So it is all the hiking and all the training that I usually do regularly that can get me pretty fast. I'm quite sure if you're here, if you don't take pictures, like 25 minutes, you can be done.
After a full day exploring the salt flat, it was time to go back to secure a spot for sunset.
Different day for similar outfit. That's what most people like to wear. A poncho and rain boots. They're back, so the sunset is going to be very different today. It's less clouds, so we're not going to see all the redness that we saw on day one.
In fact, this was my favorite day at the salt flat because if you can see, the colors are purple. It's just breathtaking. And then we got the picnic again, but with a little bit different food. And today we're opening a bottle of red wine from Bolivia. So this purple hues was nothing like I have ever seen. Definitely the camera does not do its justice. It might just look very purple to you right now.
Cheers!
But in real life, it was just so peaceful and so romantic and all.
Alright guys, so we just came back from like a whole full day of our tour. It was a magical day. The absolutely most beautiful, the sky when it turns like purple and red. And then we're now eating at the restaurant, at the hotel. So they do have buffet and a la carte, so we chose to eat a la carte. But I'm sure I can show you some of the buffet options as well so that you guys can decide. This is the beef with sunrise. So guys, we have the entree arrived, beef loin, but we're having also a fish. Is that a trout? Trout, grilled trout or something like that. Oh, this chocolate cake. Ooh. With some tart, right? Some pudding. If you eat llama, they have chicken and fish in foil. Nice. And then they have rice and potatoes, maybe some spring roll. It's a wrap, and some assorted salads. You can decide what you like. Of course, it's gonna be different every day. Tomorrow is gonna be another excellent day. We're gonna be waking up at 3 a.m. for their stars and sunrise. Another type of scenery, because this is, to me, usually you cannot only go one time. You have to go like a few times for different timing, because it's different under different weather as well. So I want to see more of it. So we'll be doing that in the morning. So see you guys tomorrow at 3 a.m.
Moments later.
So after a really magnificent night of watching the stars, now we're waiting for sunrise. I mean, if you can just see how peaceful this place is right now.
Sorry for the quick interruption. I wanted to let you guys know that if you have any questions about traveling in China or even other parts of Asia, you can find me on WhatsApp by contacting me on my website, www.travelwithjanelle.com. I'm going to list it here. You can also DM me on my IG, Go with Janelle, and I should be able to help you with everything you ever thought of about doing in China. I will try my best, at least. As long as it's there, I will be able to do it, and the price is so competitive. So I do not want to interrupt this episode any longer because I have to take in this beautiful scenery here.
Then we'd had our last breakfast at this hotel before we were on our way to Chile.
This is the breakfast area. Really pretty, right? Looking at the whole Salar de Uyuni. Just right there, very close.
On this day, you will have to prepare for a 7 to 8 hours car ride until you get to your accommodation near the border of Chile.
All right, so first stop of the day, guys. Well, good morning, by the way. Now we are heading to Chile, going to the Atacama Desert. We have arrived at the first point of the day. It is called the Valley of the Rocks.
Rocks have been formed by the volcanic eruptions in the past. All of the volcanoes that we can see on backside, for example, all of the high peaks that you can see there were volcanoes with high activities.
So after another 30 minutes, we had arrived at the Stinky Lagoon. We're here to look at flamingos. So many, at least 1,000 of them, at least. I think at least. Lunch for the day. As you can see, beautiful scenery here while we're having lunch. Salsa chicken, and these are homemade by our driver's wife. So guys, this is the deep lagoon.
If you like natural scenery, this route is definitely for you because there are many beautiful lagoons and volcanoes to look at. But be aware that it is a very bumpy ride as there are no fixed road pretty much for the whole day. So if you have motion sickness, please be aware of this.
Come on, guys, look at these. Look at these rabbits with long tails. Oh, wow. Very unique for sure. I've never seen that. We're now at this place, almost at Atacama Desert. I think it's called Tree of Rocks or Rocks of Tree. To be honest, the car today, like the car ride, is not that easy, especially if you are experiencing high altitude sickness, like my two friends. So if you're gonna watch the episode of Atacama Desert and if you don't think it's worth it, then just skip it and go right back to Uyuni because it's like a whole day in the car today and not much to look at. Yeah, so judge it for yourself, guys. I'm just being honest with you. Arrive at the Red Lagoon. Beautiful colors. I think pretty, but not sure about 7 hours. All right, so here is our hotel of the night, a hostel.
There were no other type of accommodation, just be warned that this is very basic, be prepared. At least it was clean.
The next day.
Llama saying good morning to us. Hello, babies. Oh, too cute, too cute, too cute.
To be honest, these 2 days, I saw so much wild animals that I don't get to see anywhere in the world. You guys know me by now, I'm all about wild safaris. Seeing llamas, seeing ostriches, it was just kind of fun. And you know, to be honest, I've never seen these type of like vicuñas and all that in other parts of the world. So if you like animals, definitely don't sleep in the car.
So we had arrived at the geishas here in this national park in Bolivia. There are not a lot of them, not too much action going on, but worth it to like stop by and stuff like that.
Also, this was at an altitude of 4,900 meters.
All right, we had arrived at the hot spring here inside the national park. It costs 15 Bolivian BOB to get in, and there's toilets over there and stuff like that. So just so you know, most of the places, aside from restaurants and stuff, it costs like 5 Bolivian like BOB to use the toilet. Make sure you bring your swimsuit before you leave on the third day. Over here, it's not too bad. Like the swimming pool is better than what I thought. It's not as rustic. It looks comfortable. Arrived at the Salvador Dali Desert. So they named this place Salvador Dali Desert because of the painting that he drew. So let me see if I can get a close up and show you guys. And on the other side is super pretty as well with this mountain. Absolutely gorgeous. One thing I forgot to mention is that there's no internet here. So with the very basic accommodation, last night, right, you still have to pay 20 BOB for the Wi-Fi, which doesn't work that well. But the good news is I've heard that because of the plants that they're building here and it's almost done, so you guys will be able to have electricity. But I do think sometime when you get very basic accommodation and if the view is worth it, then that's all that matters. That is not a lagoon, that is white sand with some salt. Because from over here it looks like a lagoon. So pretty, so pretty. I think this is the prettiest part of the national park. In front of us is the Green Lagoon. As the acidity is so high, that's why there's no flamingo here. Very, very windy, but it's actually quite pretty. All right, this is the last stop of our trip, of the Bolivia trip. This is the White Lagoon. So they said that if you can get some of these waters, they can be used for washing powder. Yes, it's one of those waters where you walk. So I'm now walking, leaving Bolivia, and going into Chile. So see you guys in Chile. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week in Chile.
Inside of Chile, let me show you guys an episode of Kunming and the rest of Yunnan first because many of you have been asking for it. So again, see you guys next week in Kunming.